Good morning and welcome. Stupidest sports show on earth has arrived. It is the Friday, March 14th version of the show. I am here, and my co-partner, Tim Van Straten, will be here very soon. He's having a few difficulties logging on from the mainland of Hawaii, where he will be joining us very soon. And we'll have a great show today. Despite the slow start to the show. But anyways, welcome to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. This is episode 49 of the show. I'm really excited about today. Friday, of course, college basketball day. A bunch of college basketball going on today. We're also going to talk NFL free agency, and we'll spend some time maybe at the end talking Major League Baseball awards, as the first Major League Baseball games are next week. It is Cubs and Dodgers playing this week. So I think my partner Tim is joining us. Good morning, Tim. Let's do something real quick.
What?
Us around. There we go.
What?
Us around. I like you being on my left and me being on your right.
Yeah, this is much better. I apologize. It's 3:05 a.m., but I'm here.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Morning, Tim.
How are you, Rodney? How are things? How's your week been the last couple days since we last discussed sports and other various topics?
Yeah, so we always talk. We kind of break through with weather in the morning. So it's supposed to be 80 degrees here in Central Illinois today. 80, high of 80, But speaking of 80, they say we could get 80-mile-per-hour winds tonight because of 80 degrees. There's like fire warnings going on, which I know you as a former California resident know how these fire. I mean, I'm not comparing this to fires of California, but like we don't get fire weather very often in Illinois. So trying to figure out how the rest of the day is gonna work out for us. Chance of tornadoes tonight. So we're paying for that 80 degrees that we're going to be getting here in a few hours and super windy. But anyways, I'm doing great. College basketball's here. I was getting ready to make the announcement that, but I was going to see if you could join on time. But yes, here we go. A stupid sports show announcement I wanted to make for us.
This is exciting.
Yes, let's go ahead and make that announcement. We are now part of the Gateway Sports Network. Okay, gatewaysports.net is the website. Head on over there and check them out. You can get all their lineups, everything that's going on over at gatewaysports.net. But we are now part of their lineup. They have a lineup of shows. They have some great shows going on. You can see us right on the front of their feed, right on their website. A lot of cool things going on there. Follow their Twitter accounts. And hopefully big things from the partnership. I know I'm going to jump on a couple of their shows. They might jump on a couple of our shows after a while. But gatewaysports.net, we have partnered with them. I know I'm super excited about it. The great people over there, Gene, got me hooked up with them and really excited about it. So gatewaysports.net, Tim.
So, Rodney, Gateway Sports, what does this mean for our show? What does this mean for the stupidest sports show on earth? Surely Gateway Sports will want to come in and change our show, right?
No, absolutely not. The great folks at Gateway Sports love what we are doing at our show and do not want us to change from being the stupidest sports show on earth. They love that we are the stupidest sports show on earth. So it does nothing to change our show. We will still be on Tuesday mornings, hopefully, and Friday or Tuesday nights and Friday mornings, depending on your busy travel schedule. But it should not change anything. Basically, what it'll do is it gets their eyeballs on us and our eyeballs on them, and it just should be a fun partnership where we might be able to collab together over the shows and over the weeks. But no, it should not change what we are doing here at the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth.
I knew that. I was just playing along with the sort of announcement, right?
Yeah.
It's called building drama, right?
Building drama. Yeah. Well, the drama was building quickly. It was I could sense it in the air for the listeners. The drama was building. But Yes, thank you to gatewaysports.net, and check out their website and all the shows they have offering. I know they added a new one. I'm not a big Missouri Tiger fan, but they added a great show. I took a listen to it the other day on the Missouri Tigers. Being Gateway Sports, obviously they want to be national. That's why they like our show, because we spend our time talking national sports. These guys obviously are going to talk Missouri basketball and football, which is fine. But yeah, so we're going to bring the national talk and kind of the variants of all the different sports. That's what they like about our show, Tim. So we got to keep it up.
They are they St. Louis guys, like the people who started it? Are they like St. Louis guys?
Are based out of the St. Louis area. They some of them have moved to other places. So at this point, they're not all in the area. They are interested in you coming and seeing the Angels Cardinals in a couple weeks, Tim.
Oof.
I don't know if I can get you down there or not.
Oof.
If I can get you to St. Louis. We'll see what the weather looks like for that day. But Angels Cardinals at the end of March.
Nothing to do with the invite and going to see them in St. Louis. It's the Angels that I'm getting nauseous at. It's that portion of it. And also if you're listening, our overlords now at Gateway Sports, you should know that I have very strong feelings about any baseball being played this early into the year to March. Baseball should be exclusively reserved for, honestly, like, I'll just say it, mid to late April.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you. I just don't understand why we have to start the season so early, and then we are starting some of these. Well, St. Louis is hosting opening weekend. The Cardinals and Twins. So I'm just not. And you've laid out plans for us, like LA, San Francisco, Anaheim, Arizona, all those teams, the domes, all those teams can host the first 10 to 14 games.
Right. It's basically all of the warm weather teams and indoor stadium teams. If we are going to be playing this early, should be the ones that are hosting for the first week or two of the season, because like we see this every single year. Awesome. Opening days here. This is so amazing. Oh, 4 games have already gotten postponed because we're playing in late March, games that are in Philadelphia, in Cleveland. And it's like, of course the weather is bad.
Yeah.
Like it was snowing 2 days ago. Like what did we expect?
Yeah.
So it's one of the most annoying things about the new like baseball schedule. And hopefully eventually, Rodney, there will be a day where we add a team in, say, Nashville. We add a team in Montreal that maybe has a roof, right? And those will be 2 more teams that'll have favorable environments. And then perhaps we'll be one step closer to my overall plan of 15 or 16 teams that have suitable atmospheres for early season starts they can host.
You mean hosting in St. Louis, Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit?
So I was going to ask you. So St. Louis and Kansas City, they're like, it's fringe. They're official fringe to me, but I feel like it's still leaning more toward too cold.
Oh yeah. I'm not fringe on this one. St. Louis at the end of March, you could see 38 degrees with flurries for
Awful.
Cardinals Angels.
Awful.
Not gonna work out. That's not baseball weather. So I would move the season back. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I would almost, and I'm a purist in many ways with baseball. Like the 162 games, I don't want to do anything with it, but I think I would almost rather take away a few games and start the season a little bit later.
Yeah.
Than start early. Like no one's in baseball mode yet. Like you're still in March Madness. Like it's just, it's cold. It just doesn't feel right. We're trying to force baseball. And I don't want to force baseball. Baseball should be a beautiful thing that everyone looks forward to instead of just like, oh shit, it's here. And that's kind of what it is now.
Yeah, and then we're playing opening day next Thursday in Japan, like March 20th.
Don't even get me started on that.
10 days before the rest of the season starts, or I guess it would be a week. But like, what are we doing? I get that you have to do the travel to and from Japan, and that's going to take a day or whatever. But like Thursday, Friday next week, we're playing Major League Baseball games, and that just
And worst of all, I had to do not one, but 2 fantasy drafts this week in Hawaii. I had to disrupt my Hawaiian vacation to do fantasy baseball drafts because we have to make sure our teams are set before the Dodgers and Cubs play 2 games in Tokyo that none of us are going to be awake for. Yep. No one's going to see them. Yep. They're in the middle of the night. So
I've got 2 this weekend.
Right. So we have to prepare for them because these games are coming up. We don't want to miss Ohtani and all these potential stats. Like, give me a break, man. Just play baseball when everyone else is playing baseball and make that date April 15th. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Now I'm upset. Now I'm upset.
Wouldn't think it would be all that difficult. But anyway, so either this show or Tuesday night, we're going to get to our official awards that we're gonna predict for this season. We may not get to it this show because we do have a lot of college basketball. We have some more NFL free agency to talk. Let's get to the conference tournaments that are going on in college basketball. So actually, I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to go to this one first. This is the bigger news of the tournament. So the last time I can remember something this late in the season that affects one of the best teams in college basketball would be the Kenyon Martin Cincinnati days, where he broke his leg heading into the tournament. They kind of punished Cincinnati on the seedings. Cincinnati didn't fare real well. Duke is the top team in the country. They lost a guy to a shoulder injury yesterday. They lost Cooper Flagg to an ankle injury. They wheeled him off in a wheelchair. Obviously, Cooper Flagg shouldn't play today against North Carolina. I would guess he's not. But if you're Duke, you're probably pretty hush-hush on this injury because you don't want to get punished by the seeding committee. You want to say, okay, yeah, we think Cooper Flagg can play. But this is the biggest news of the tournament because this is a team that many think are going to win. They're not winning the tournament without Cooper Flagg, are they?
No, sir. No, sir. And I was watching a little bit of the game. I saw when he got hurt and left. And so Duke, they ended up winning yesterday because they were down pretty big against Georgia Tech early on, which was a little bit of a surprise. But yeah, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where these conference tournaments, it's like, how important was Duke? Like, how important was this tournament for Duke? So they're the number 2 team in the nation, right?
They moved to number 1 with Auburn's loss last week. They're probably the overall number 1. Probably them and Auburn.
If they would have lost yesterday, let's say they decided, hey, we're going to sit Cooper Flagg, we're going to sit Caduple, like all these different guys, and let's just worry about it at the tournament because we got a game to play a week from today. Nothing would have changed with the NCAA tournament, right? Like they're still going in as a 1 seed.
Oh, easily. And maybe still the number 1 overall. We've seen over the years that these conference tournaments don't play a lot of stock in your top seeds. They just don't.
Right. So what are we doing? Like, what's the purpose of this? And now you have to sit and stress about your best player and maybe the national player of the year being hurt, not even being able to play. And on a team that a lot of people, I assume, are going to pick to win a national championship. Maybe not now, but certainly with Cooper Flagg, they would. So it's such a mess. And it just further proves the point of these conference tournaments when you're guaranteed a spot and you're guaranteed to be in an elite spot, they don't mean anything.
Yeah. And now it's a tough situation because they've got North Carolina today, which obviously we know the difference, the big rivalry, Duke, North Carolina. But now, you've got North Carolina who was needing big wins, and they got a decent one against Wake Forest yesterday. Now, even if they beat Duke, it's going to be okay, so that's going to be considered a quad 1 win for North Carolina. But is it really a quad 1 win when Cooper Flagg and one of your other top guys is out? It takes away a little bit of the big rivalry that is North Carolina. I love North Carolina Duke. I love that rivalry. I've loved it for years. If they play and I'm available, I'm watching it. But without Cooper Flagg today. But anyways, that is for sure the biggest news in sports, at least to me, is best player in college basketball being out. But big day yesterday, college basketball. Did you see? I know you're in Hawaii, so you probably had your various times. But Fran McCaffrey of the Iowa Hawkeyes who likely, I believe, is not going to be coming back to Iowa. I do believe they're going to move on. Final game, if it is, he gone. He got ejected last night against Illinois. That just kind of, that is Fran McCaffrey in a nutshell right there. Loose cannon and a basketball team that still doesn't play any defense. I believe Illinois put up over 100 points on them last night. But what's your thoughts with and I know you're not in love with the college basketball tournaments, the conference tournaments, but 106 points for the Illini last night.
Against an Iowa team that, I mean, I'm sure would like to defend them a little bit better. I mean, listen, I've been hearing Illini fans complain about Fran McCaffrey for years now. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm with you. I wouldn't be shocked if this is the end for him. I feel like eventually a coach like that, he wears out his welcome and things just sort of run their course, and it's best for both sides to just move on. And I feel like Iowa's in a good position to be there right now. So, yeah, do you think that he'll coach somewhere else, or do you think he'll just be done?
I mean, his kids are now getting older, obviously, getting ready to be out of the college game. I mean, if you're Fran, like, do you want to go through that again? I mean, you're stationed there in Iowa. You've been there a long time. Your kids are grown. They're probably having kids here soon. I mean, it's hard for me to say because a lot of these guys, I would be like, okay, it's a good idea to be done, good time to be done with coaching. And then they find another job in mid to late 60s or early 70s. And I mean, the word is that these coaches are addicted to it. They're lifers. If I'm Fran McCaffrey, though, I think I'm calling it quits. Like, there's a lot that he's put a lot of stress on himself over the years, and it's like, okay, I don't have to have this anymore. So I don't know what to think. The big news for college basketball coaching is and this might be good news for you. McCollum at Drake is supposedly the top candidate for Indiana after 1 year at Drake. So we said this last year when they lost their coach to West Virginia. Okay, now it's the Drake downfall, but like back-to-back coaches and back-to-back years would be a major hit for Drake.
It's insane. Yeah, they get maybe the best Division II coach in the country who gets a bunch of Division II players and comes in, and then they have one of the best seasons in Valley history and win the conference again. And then, I wouldn't be surprised if McCollum ends up being one and done. And then they'll just hire some guy who's coaching at some JUCO somewhere. He'll bring all his JUCO players, but then rub some fairy dust on it, and boom, they have 30 wins and they beat Bradley again in St. Louis. Like that, I've resigned myself to this. Yeah. And congratulations to them in advance, I guess.
Some of the big games today. So we're starting at 10:30 Central Time with St. Bonaventure and VCU. But out of the Big Ten, Oregon and Michigan State. I love this Oregon team to continue playing well. They've won 8 in a row. They're 24-8. I do think they are an upset special today against Michigan State. The Ducks and UCLA are the two teams for me, and being Pac-12 teams, the Big Ten fans don't always see them, but I feel like they're both ready to really make a move here in Big Ten tournament and beyond. Wisconsin, UCLA is after that. That's a 1:30 game in the Big Ten. Illinois, Maryland should be a good one tonight. 5:30 Central Time, 24th ranked Illinois, 11th ranked Maryland. And then the final Big Ten game tonight is Purdue and Michigan. So you really have a lot of chalk in the Big Ten. Probably the best 8 teams. We probably have it right here. Other conference tournaments, we talked about Duke, North Carolina. That's tonight. There's 2 games in the ACC. SEC was wild yesterday. Arkansas lost at the buzzer, and Kentucky won at the buzzer. So those that dislike the John Calipari, it was a good day for them as Arkansas went to the line, missed 2 free throws, came down the other side, gave up a 3, and then missed a chuck at the buzzer to chance to tie it. So a bad day for Arkansas as then John Calipari, or then his old team, Kentucky, won at the buzzer last night. Another big game at 1 o'clock today. St. Louis, the Billikens, they play Loyola. How about that rivalry? Now we've got that's a decent rivalry, though. You've got the St. Louis, you've got the Chicago. That's one that should build over the years, I think. St. Louis and Loyola, 19-13 against 21-10 today.
Yeah, no, I think so. And honestly, like there's some Valley connections there. You have St. Louis that really built a lot of their program this year based off of Indiana State from last season. And then Loyola obviously had their most success with the Valley, dating back a few years now. So I will take partial credit for that rivalry. Can I mention one thing though? Can I mention one thing to interrupt? So one thing that really annoys me is I think it was Wednesday. You sent out a tweet where you were like, "This is the worst Kansas Jayhawks team I've ever seen."
It is. They lost again last night.
Hold on. You're like, the worst Kansas team I've ever seen. So disgusted. And I see Kansas won against UCF. Now they did lose yesterday to Arizona, but my point being that I hope you know how privileged you are to just sit there and be disgusted about how awful your basketball team is after they win a game. They win in a conference tournament. They're still going to be in the tournament. You're like, oh, this is the most pathetic team I'm ever going to see. I can't believe they're going to be a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament. Get the hell out of here, man. That's all. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say. So.
But it really showed what Kansas was this year. At times played well, but then in the end just was super sloppy. Stupid fouling 3-point shooters, turning ball over. But yes, the night before was an overtime win against Central Florida, which kept me up late. What would have been Wednesday night. They played the 8:30 game last night, so that one didn't finish till about 10:30. But anyways, my Jayhawks struggle. They're probably going to be about a 7 seed. Later today and tomorrow, I'll probably come up with my top 32. So I'll have all my 1 seeded, 2 seeds, and see what happens. I got them about 7, which may see Drake. Can Drake be a 10? Kansas Drake. So. I've said this for 2 weeks now. Scares the shit out of me. It just scares me like nobody's business. Kansas Drake would be a disaster. And I mean, you got some local. So I mean, that's not that far. That would be a disaster game for the big power of Kansas Jayhawks.
I don't know what type of college basketball you enjoy watching the most. I don't know. I know you love college basketball. I don't know if there's like a style that you prefer over the others, but if you like watching college basketball teams that actually like just can make it a high, high possession game, pace of play, all that, you're going to hate watching the Drake Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And what it's going to be is like, this isn't like if Drake is going to make a run in March, I don't think they will, but if they are going to make a run, it's not going to be like Florida Gulf Coast where it's just dunk city and just fast paced. And it's like a Cinderella that you like are like, oh shit, like that happened so fast. It's going to be death by a million paper cuts. And you're just going to have to sit there and just watch this slog of a basketball game where they just eat up every single second on their shot clock. It's just defense. It's like it, and it's going to be the most miserable upset that you've ever watched. Like the quality of basketball, if you are into like fast-paced games, it's going to make you sick. It's going to make you sick, especially if you're on the losing end of that.
Yeah, I'm already prepared that they'll 42, but 36 of the points are going to come via the 3 because and I know a lot of big programs that get upset say this, but every 3-point shot goes in the NCAA tournament against the Jayhawks, especially in the first round losing matchups, the Northern Iowas, the Bucknells, the Bradley. Every 3-pointer goes in. Shot goes up, it goes in. 12 of them. I'm expecting 12 threes. Dan's got a good one here. Drake would rather win 24-22 than 198. Yes, which reminds me, here, but these IHSA tournaments, the high school basketball tournament, these are like the 24-22 games. I'm fully on board with us that we need the shot clock. We're ready for the shot clock. Shot clock's coming, thank goodness. But yesterday's 3A semifinal game, you got DePaul College Prep, who has won back-to-back state tournaments. They won the 2A, and then they moved up to 3A, and now they're 3A again. They're going to win 3 straight. They were beating Chatham Glenwood at halftime yesterday, 12-8. It was 12-8 at halftime. This is like a 8 o'clock game at State Farm Center in Champaign. Like, if you're trying to get eyeballs on this game, that 12-8 game was not it. That was not a way to show your, oh, this is fun. This is awesome. Come join the tournament. 12-8. We need the shot clock. We need to move the ball. I get it. And there was another team in Illinois, Eastland, held the ball whole first quarter, 1-0 at the end of one. Now, I like the coaching strategy in that, being kind of a former high school coach and still coaching various levels right now. I like that portion of it, but like 1-0 after one quarter, that ain't it.
It's actually insane. It's actually insane that they still, it's 2025 and there's no shot clock. You're gonna have one at the next level. You're gonna have one at all like future levels of basketball. Like, put one here. Doesn't have to be 24 seconds. Be like 35 seconds even. Like, I'm good with that. Just something. Because man, it is hard to watch. I'm with you, man. It's tough.
All right, so that's college basketball today. A whole bunch going on, and then of course a lot of the championships of the conference tournament will be tomorrow, or possibly then on Sunday, and then we get Selection Sunday. So I do got to do a slight rant here. I mentioned earlier I'm in 2 baseball drafts this weekend. Okay, fine. Okay, we got to do it this weekend because we're starting the season midweek next week. But like, first of all, this is college basketball weekend. This isn't a fantasy baseball draft weekend. It's just not. Then the second one, and I got to be careful here because I like the GM, the owner of this league, but one guy scheduled his draft, our draft, at 6 p.m. on Sunday. Selection Sunday's at 5. Like, for me, Selection Sunday is watch the show and then talk about the show, talk about the game. So now they want me to draft as soon as the show's done. We couldn't do this draft at 2 or 9 or whatever. Like, we're right at the. I don't know, man. I
honestly, I think that he did the draft with Selection Sunday in mind. He didn't want to do it during the championships. During the championship games, okay, Rodney, would you rather draft after the bracket's done, after there's no more college basketball to be played, or while there's 3 championships happening all at the same time?
I'd probably rather do it at like 9 o'clock, but I guess people go to bed, so I guess that's not an option. But right after Selection Sunday, come on. I'm not a big fan of that timing. But yes, I do have. So I have one on Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock, and then one Sunday evening at 6 o'clock.
Is he a big college basketball fan? Do you know?
I don't believe so. I mean, you know me. So I am obviously in our group. I can be very argumentative and kind of poke the bear and push the buttons. But I don't know very many people in this league, and I'm not that type for like this. Like, okay, you say 6 o'clock, I'm going to do 6 o'clock. Like, I have no real good reason to not do 6 o'clock other than I just don't want to do 6 o'clock. Now, if this was our buddies' league, there's 100% chance I'm not making 6 o'clock. Nope, can't make it. But a guy that I don't live near him. He lives in a different part of the country than me. He invited me to be part of this fun league. I'm not going to poke that bear. But I hate the 6 o'clock start. I hate it. Dan asked, no live Stupid Sports Show immediately after the brackets are announced. No, not going to make it on Sunday. So I think we've made this rule pretty clear from the beginning, Tim. Like, if we're going to have what does Dave Portnoy call him? Like an emergency show or podcast. Like, if we're going to have an emergency, we've got to really, it's got to be really good, right? Like let's give an example of what an emergency show would be.
Yeah. There's been some crazy sports stories that have happened since we started this show all the way back in August of 2024. Have we done an emergency podcast at all?
Zero.
No, usually not. Well, because it's like, I got to coordinate my schedule. You got to coordinate your schedule. Like, a lot of people may not know this, but like, Rodney is in charge of 3 human beings and has to cater to their whim at all times drive them places, buy them shit, just like us to make sure they're all content before he's finally content. So, like, that's a lot of planning to do. And, like, with all due respect to your kids, maybe, like, Jonah would understand, but, like, I don't know if the others would be like, oh, of course, Daddy has an emergency podcast he has to do because so-and-so got traded. Like, I don't know. I don't want to place the blame on you here because I obviously, like, I got stuff going on too, but, like, that's it. It's hard. It's hard when you have these responsibilities.
But
that said, no, I was going to say, I don't think, like, the brackets being released is an emergency podcast. Just like talk about it on Tuesday, man. Like there's going to be no games played between the bracket release and our next show. Like we're all going to know the brackets. Like what are we going to say? Instead of be like, oh, let's go through each matchup. Like no, man, just do that on your own. I don't care.
But we do have to do that next Tuesday.
Well, I assumed that Tuesday we would be doing some sort of prediction thing, or we would unveil sort of our top upsets. Because I like to have my bracket filled out pretty early.
Yeah.
So we'll both have our brackets presumably filled out before the show on Tuesday, and then we'll give our predictions from there.
All right, let's move to another round of NFL free agency. We came on Wednesday and we were like in day 2 or whatever it was, maybe 3 of free agency. Now we've hit kind of the end of the week. Since Wednesday, what do we have? What do we want to discuss in the NFL free agency world?
Yeah.
Right.
What's even happened? What's even
your
happened?
New York Giants still do not have a quarterback.
Still, they are.
So
here's what's very, very apparent. What's very apparent with this whole thing? Aaron Rodgers wants to go anywhere else besides the New York Giants.
Yes,
that's obvious. Russell Wilson is begging to be a New York Giant. Also obvious. But Giants don't want Russell Wilson; they want Aaron Rodgers. And they're kind of just gonna be in this position and then end up with Joe Flacco at the end of the day. So I'm kind of resigning myself to that already. And I spent time yesterday on my vacation. I'm sitting out by the pool and I should be thinking about just like, man, how lucky am I to be out here right now? Like getting away from Illinois for a little bit on this nice vacation with my family. All this, and I'm just sitting there being like, Joe Flacco actually could be a nice veteran mentor to a rookie quarterback. Like you could do worse than Joe Flacco. Maybe he still does. I mean, Joe Flacco took the Browns to the playoffs not too long ago. Not too long ago, Rodney. This was very, very recent. Could do worse. He's better than Danny Dimes, which, by the way, the new nickname for Daniel Jones, in case you missed it, is Indiana Jones.
Indiana. There you go.
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
That's clever. That's quite clever.
You know what sucks?
Sucks?
Daniel Jones gets all of the best nicknames. Like they're wasting all of these great nicknames on just the most garbage player. Like he's had Danny Dimes, Vanilla Vic, Indiana Jones. Like these are sick nicknames, great nicknames, and they're all being used on like that version of cardboard. Like he is a human version of cardboard. Like that's it. He sucks, but he gets the best nicknames. It must be like a meme at this point.
So what I do got to say though is if the Giants do bring in Joe Flacco, and he is their starting quarterback, I think you've got to really, and I'm talking about like fantasy drafts. I think you really got to think Malik Neighbors is in great. I mean, one thing Joe Flacco does is he chucks the ball. He chucks the ball. And he's probably going to chuck the ball to Malik Neighbors. I mean, we saw Neighbors kind of in his the weeks where he just like massive catches, massive receptions. Is that the Neighbors we get with Flacco? Like, yes, he still has an offensive line problem. Yes, he's 40 years old. Yes, the Giants aren't very good. But, like, he's going to throw the ball. He's going to throw the ball a lot more than Daniel Jones did because he ain't running. So I guess that's kind of my question. Where are you at? So let's say the Giants sign Joe Flacco today. You're getting ready for your fantasy draft for Malik Neighbors. Where's he fit in?
I think Malik Neighbors is largely the same of what he was last year. Like, and people forget this. It's not like Malik Neighbors had games where he had just 2 catches because no one was throwing him the ball. It was Daniel Jones or whoever only throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors. Like
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors, despite having one of the worst quarterback situations in all of football, had more catches in a single season than any player in Giants history. And that's with missing, 3 games, I think, due to a concussion in the middle of the season. Like any time that Malik Neighbors was available, they just got him the ball. Now, maybe that's just because Daniel Jones can only make one read, but is Joe Flacco going to give Neighbors 13 targets per game? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he actually has some vision and is able to spread the ball a little bit more to get other guys involved. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think this is really going to change anything for Malik Neighbors. Now, if it's someone like Aaron Rodgers, I think that definitely changes some things. Certainly Neighbors' scoring potential, like his touchdowns, and not just like 12 catches for 80-something yards, but no scores. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much it would change, to be honest with you, but I would like Malik Neighbors to have a quarterback, because if in the theory is if he can do this with having garbage at quarterback, imagine what he can do with someone who's halfway competent.
Yeah. Some minor news in the NFL. Gardner Minshew's now the backup for Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. I mean, if you're Gardner, like, that's not a bad job. That's not a bad gig. Go over to Kansas City, be Patrick's backup. Hope you don't play. Maybe play fourth quarters. But that's not a terrible backup signing for the Chiefs.
No. One of the better backups in the league, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Miles Sanders planning, and he's been so irrelevant the last several years anyway, but he plans on going to the Cowboys. Cowboys, I don't know what the Cowboys are doing. I don't.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the Cowboys drama yesterday?
I don't know as if I know what happened yesterday.
So DeMarcus Lawrence, longtime Cowboy, he signs with the Seattle Seahawks, and after, like, during his interview with Hawks TV or whatever, like the official sort of media of the Seahawks, he was talking about, Dallas is my home, spent a lot of years there, and said, and there's video of this. This is not like a fake quote or anything from one of those aggregators, but it's like, but I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. This is what DeMarcus Lawrence says. And Micah Parsons quotes that and says, "This is what rejection and envy look like. This some clown shit." These are former teammates. Yeah. And then DeMarcus Lawrence then responds to that, saying, "Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left."
Yeah, that's that's the stuff that happens in Dallas. They are a clown show. Dan, good one there. I said, I don't know what the Cowboys are doing, and Dan says, good news, neither do the Cowboys.
Yeah,
you're so right on that one.
Yeah, and then my buddy, he also texted a screenshot. So a little over an hour ago, Adam Schefter says Cowboys are making a push to sign former Rams receiver Cooper Kupp. And then about 45 minutes after that, Adam Schefter says Cowboys are not considered likely landing spot for wide receiver Cooper Kupp. So much for that.
So they tried, and then Cooper said, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good."
Yeah, their push lasted less than an hour, and then they're like, "Oh, well, we tried. Okay." Yeah, like, that's not going to be a good football team, man. That's not going to be a good team next year. With Brian Schottenheimer as the coach, like, if the Giants were not in their division, the Cowboys, I feel like, would be an absolute lock to be DFL. Yeah, like they'd be toast.
Yeah. One more news: Alexander Mattison signed with the Dolphins. I mean, he's going to get like the Raheem Mostert time there, right? They let Mostert go. Now they're Madison. They've got Achane in there that's going to get bulk of the carries. But interesting backup. But yeah, other than that, pretty light last couple days. Who's still out there that needs to be signed that you can think of? Is there any other names? Well, I mean, the quarterbacks you talked about. But other than that, anybody else we're holding out
on? Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of it. By the way, Zach Wilson, in case you missed it, Zach Wilson's the new backup for Tua in Miami. So enjoy that.
He is gonna love Miami though. Zach Wilson is gonna love the beaches of Miami.
He'll play games. He'll play games. Do you think Tua's gonna give you 17 starts?
Yeah, heck yeah, he'll play. He'll play.
All right. I found this article: 10 best remaining NFL free agents in 2025, top unsigned players and where they might land. So I'm going to give you the rundown here because it's early and I don't feel like doing much research beyond this. So we have the two quarterbacks that everyone's waiting for, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is hijacking the entire free agent process right now because you have the Giants, you have the Steelers, you have the Vikings, you have the Titans that are all just like, well, what are we going to do? And Rodgers is just on a beach taking a sweet time with this. So you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Russell Wilson. You have Cooper Kupp, who I just mentioned, right? Who's apparently not going to be a Cowboy, even though the Cowboys made a really aggressive 35-minute push to sign him. Mekhi Becton, the former first-round tackle, now a converted guard with the Eagles. He's still available. Stephon Diggs. Now, a lot of people have sort of forgotten about Stephon Diggs because he's coming off the torn ACL. He's in his 30s. Do you have any sort of, like, Roddy, if your favorite football team signed Stephon Diggs, are you feeling good about that, or are you like, this is 2 years too late?
Yeah, I don't love that because from all indications that I have seen and heard of Stephon Diggs is he's not the best teammate either, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's never really been overly likable. Josh Allen didn't mind getting rid of him. We've seen sideline temper tantrums from this guy before. He is aging. He is coming off injuries. I'm probably staying away from wanting Stephon Diggs. Now, there are teams that could use him as at this point, what is he, a third, fourth receiver, right? Like he's not your top receiver. He's probably going to struggle if he's your number two. But adding a third or some depth isn't a terrible idea. But I'm probably not wanting Stephon Diggs. No.
J.K. Dobbins is a free agent. I feel like J.K. Dobbins had a really nice season with the Chargers, and I thought that he would maybe cash in. Now, I'm not saying cash in with a huge multi-year deal. I mean, he's still just 26 years old.
Yeah.
I could see him being a nice sneaky pickup somewhere. I have no idea where. Maybe the Raiders. He stays in the AFC West. He ends up with a good coach in Carroll. He replaces Madison, who Madison left. The Raiders don't really have a starting running back right now. And I mean, they could draft Genty still, but I mean, Raiders and J.K. Dobbins make some sense there.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of injury concerns with Dobbins, but when he does play and when he's on the field, he has been fairly productive and kind of underappreciated maybe that we don't hear a lot about him and gets it done, but he's got to be on the field for him. But Raiders would be a good location, yeah.
And then some of the other big names: Dante Fowler, the edge rusher for the Commanders; Cam Robinson, offensive tackle for the Vikings; Tevin Jenkins. I'm sure you know Tevin Jenkins, a longtime Bears guard. Seems like his time in Chicago is over. The Bears have really addressed both their guard positions and the starting center. So unless Tevin Jenkins wants to come back as a backup, which I doubt, considering he's 27, he's the best guard on the market currently right now. Seems like Tevin Jenkins is going to be on a different team. And then Amari Cooper, getting back to sort of fantasy relevant guys. Amari Cooper, who I can't tell, did he actually succeed with the Bills? I feel like the answer is no. I feel like he went to Buffalo. He maybe had a game or two where he was decent, but there were a lot of like goose eggs. There were a lot of games where he was just straight up irrelevant for Buffalo, which was weird considering that some guys that didn't have sort of the name value that he did were out producing him on that team. So Amari Cooper, there are teams that certainly are looking for wide receivers. Correct me if I'm wrong here. The Patriots have signed a lot of players, but I don't think any of them have been wide receivers. So perhaps Amari Cooper and the Patriots make sense to give Drake May an actual weapon.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad idea, but like you said, Cooper wasn't really did not have a great year, and is a goose egg candidate a lot of times. He is the new Sammy Watkins of the NFL. Sammy Watkins known for his goose egg ability, but Patriots signed a lot of guys still need help in receiving. Like that was one of their big weaknesses last year is they just didn't have dudes to throw it to. It'd be interesting to see where these guys fall. Hopefully some of them fall before Tuesday and we can kind of continue with that. And what are we, a month away from the draft? Right at a month? A little bit over a month. Yeah.
A little bit over a month. It's usually like April 20 something. Yeah. And I can't really turn my attention fully to the draft until I know what the Giants have at quarterback, like who's on their roster, and then I can really start to put my eggs. Now I'm starting to think that Tennessee is going to stay at number one and just take Cam Ward.
Yeah, I can see that.
Makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to be what, Shador at 3, or you just pass on a quarterback altogether. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's not a fun spot to be. It's not an enjoyable thing for me at all.
No, it's not a great day to be a New York Giants fan still.
Yeah. Never is.
Dude, trust me. I know this feeling being the final years of St. Louis Rams fan. Like, what the hell are we actually doing here? Like, oh, you're not trying to win. Like, I don't know. Like, the Giants aren't leaving New York anytime soon. So, like, they're not actively trying to sabotage the franchise to make the move somewhere else sexy. The Giants just don't know what they're doing.
Right. They're just that incompetent that they remind you of a team that's actively trying to leave.
Yeah, right. They remind me of the final years of the St. Louis Rams. Like, oh, you guys aren't even trying. You're putting names out here, but you're not really even trying to compete. Yeah.
Right. Like who, Rodney, is the 2025 equivalent of Austin Davis and Sean Hill as the two quarterbacks? What's the 2025 equivalent there so I can really know what I'm in store for here?
Well, I mean, like, Zach Wilson's not going to be there, but he would be one of those, like a Zach Wilson. Right. So, like, let's say, like probably like a Tyrod Taylor, Zach Wilson situation, right? Yeah. Like Tyrod would go ahead and be your starter, and then you bring in like a Zach Wilson type, a Gardner. Well, Gardner. You bring in who was that other guy that was a long time backup that they started for? Oh
Josh
man,
Johnson.
Well, that too. Yeah, boy, there was some bad ones.
I could see like a Josh Johnson. It would be like Josh Johnson and Will Howard are like the two quarterbacks.
Yeah. Dan says the Giants should take an offensive lineman at 3 and go in on Arch Manning next year. Have him come.
Okay. Yes, that sounds like a great plan, Dan. But here's the thing: like, do we know that the Giants are going to be like in the conversation for first overall? I mean, this was the worst Giants team that I've ever seen, right? In my 32 years of rooting for this team. And they're picking 3rd. Like, they haven't had the first overall pick in God knows how long. Like, I don't even know if they have ever, to be honest with you. So, like, I to sit here and just be like, oh, but just get Arch Manning. There's no guarantee, man, because what's going to happen is you have a GM and a head coach who are both like trying to coach and lead for their jobs. They are purposely not going to go out there and try to be the 08 Detroit Lions and go 0-17 and then just like get Arch Manning. Like, no, they're going to have meaningless wins. Tommy DeVito is going to go out there. He's going to have 2-3 cutlet games, and they're going to do what they always do. They're going to be bad, but not bad enough to actually change the direction of the franchise. And then they're going to be in the same position as they are this year.
Yeah.
Easton Stick and Trey Lance is really good.
That is good. That's a good connection to that would be what the Rams did in their final years.
I feel good about that. I feel good. I feel like the Giants can contend with that. You know what's insane too, Rodney? Like the team that I referenced, that 2014 team that had Austin Davis and Sean Hill, they still won 6 games that year. Like the Giants won 3 games this past season.
Yeah. It was the great coaching of Jeff Fisher is really what it came down to.
As much as we clown on Jeff Fisher, it does say something that that he was given really bad rosters and with awful quarterback situations, and they still won 6 or 7 games a year with those teams. I know it's a bad spot to be in overall, but like that says something. Right? Like, am I giving him too much credit here?
I mean, no, looking back on how this occurred, how this happened, and like connecting the dots of the years and what actually went down, like, no, I actually respect Jeff Fisher a lot more. Like, do I think he was part of the weaseling? I mean, you're right. Like, he did still have some competitive-ish teams out there. He won some games. He did end up 8-8 on years he probably only should have won 4 games or 3 games. So, I mean, we're probably right. As I think about it, Jeff Fisher was probably trashed on way too much for how as productive as. Wonder what Jeff Fisher's doing these days.
I
Like
coaching flag
hanging
football
out
somewhere.
Yeah, grandkids or something somewhere.
I never thought that I would be defending Jeff Fisher on this Friday morning show, but like it just in hindsight, I don't know. I feel like he got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, and that's another reason we are the stupidest sports show on earth, because Friday morning in March 14th, we're discussing Jeff Fisher, and was he underappreciated or not? Anyways, hey, let me run down the stupid show madness that's going on. We are in the second day of our play-in games, the 2 play-in games today. The 1943 Wyoming team is taking on the 1942 Stanford team. So yes, very old. I get it. The interest for that game may not be a ton, but the voting is still open for another 7 hours. This evening, we'll have the end of the 2 play-in games. And then the other one is really tight. Play-in game number 4, 1978 Kentucky and 1963 Loyola. In fact, right now, the voting is tied. So 7 more hours to break that tie. These 2 winners will make our 64 teams. Round 1 will start tonight. We will get round 1 voting going on tonight. It'll go from Friday night to midnight Saturday, so basically a little bit over 24 hours with 16 games, all sorts of them to vote. The first 2 winners, the first 2 play-in winners, if you missed it, let's see here, who did win? The 1939 Oregon Ducks beat 1941 Wisconsin. And the 1950 CCNY team picked up a win over 1944 Utah. So after today, we'll be down to 64 teams. First round games will start tomorrow or tonight and Saturday night. And there we are. That is the stupid show madness that's going on. That'll continue all the way until we crown a champion. I will give you an updated bracket once these 2 play-in games are complete. That is your stupid show madness. Go to our Twitter account at Stupid Sports Show. Use the hashtag Stupid Show Madness. There it is, Tim. There it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Excellent. Where can we watch these games, by the way?
Yeah. You have to have a whole new streaming package for this one. We charge a whole new streaming package. It's not on your YouTube. It's not on your Fubo. It's not part of ESPN Plus. It's a whole new package.
Is this package? Yeah, I feel like this is a good opportunity if Gateway Sports wants to get into the streaming game, right? To have live sports. A good way to start that would be to somehow show these games between the 1942 Wyoming and 1943 Stanford. I think this is a good way to get the kids involved, the new generation of live sports watchers.
It would be fun. It would be fun, and probably next level for this 42-year-old. Like I can't quite get to that. Like the technology for me, it's a little bit over my head. My teenager might be able to do it, but I don't think he's terribly interested. But anyways, Stupid Show Madness. Head over to Twitter and please vote, because we have a tie on one of them, so we're going to need to break the tie throughout the day today. We can't have a tie. Tie results in a live coin flip, and I don't want that. So, anyways, let's get to our top 49s in sports, why don't we? Wrap it up for the day. Get you out on the beach. Get a little sunrise walk this morning or something.
I'm gonna throw something out there, Rodney, and you let me know if I'm crazy here. Do we have our first ever team on the 49 Mount Rushmore? I think the San Francisco 49ers franchise should be on the 49 Mount Rushmore.
Okay, I can go with that. They have a long history of winning championships, succeeding. So I can go with that. Yeah, no, that's a good one. But not the Charlotte 49ers in college.
Let's put a pin in Charlotte right now. But I would say San Francisco would qualify, at least for me.
Yeah. All right. So outside of that, who you got?
So some of the top 49s, let's start in baseball. There's been a lot of them. In terms of quality of player as well as the length of time wearing the jersey, I would say Ron Guidry is one of the better 49s, longtime New York Yankee. Chris Sale was 49 during his White Sox career. Now, I feel like he's hurt a little bit from not wearing it with the Red Sox and then the Braves. But if you think that, the 7 years that Chris Sale was with the White Sox and had it, he's the second best player ever in terms of career WAR to be wearing number 49. So Chris Sale could be an option as well for the White Sox fans. Tom Candiotti, Charlie Huff, Tim Wakefield, also some longtime guys who wore it. In terms of more modern day players, you have Jake Arrieta, who I know you love, Giovanni Gallardo, Julio Teheran, Armando Benitez, the longtime closer. So there's 49 is another popular number. I would say though, Jamie Moyer, but only for like 3 of his 42 seasons. I would say Ron Guidry would qualify for this for me.
Yeah, no, I'm good with Ron Guidry there. I wanted to mention rest in peace Tim Wakefield. You mentioned he's 49, but that was a sad death not too long ago. I can't go with so Chris Sale. You're right. If Chris Sale stayed in 49 when he went to Boston, yes, he would be a no doubter because his Chicago White Sox years were second to none for the most part.
It was great.
Great. If he stayed 49 because he's a 7-time All-Star, he won a World Series, he led the league in strikeouts twice, so been good. We mentioned the other day Lee Smith flirted with a couple numbers. He was 49 for a little bit, but he's not eligible for this one. So we'll go to San Francisco 49ers and we'll go Ron Guidry. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel good about that. NBA, once again, there is just nobody. I don't know what it is with the NBA and just not wanting people to wear 48 or 49. But literally the only players in the NBA to wear 49 in any season, you had Shandon Anderson, who was a Knick and Heat in the early 2000s, Mel McCants, who was a Laker for 1 year in the 1990s, and then Cameron Oliver, who most recently was an Atlanta Hawk in 2022. That's it. It's disgusting.
That's not going to work.
Pro football, Bobby Mitchell and Dennis Smith were the top 2. Tremaine Edmonds is probably the best one sort of in the modern era, the linebacker. I don't know. Does Tremaine Edmonds do anything for you as a 49 and putting him on a Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I mean, we've left off some really good names over these. I don't know as if you can advocate for Tremaine Edmonds going on this, right? I mean, is 49 a plaque on the wall number?
Do we just give a plaque to the 49ers and call it a day?
I mean, I think so because
Ron, I mean, the 49ers,
good.
Right, but the 49ers mean all of the players who suited up for the 49ers. So, I mean, that alone, that team encompasses Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steve Young, Bill Walsh is the head coach. Then the later years, you have guys like Christian McCaffrey, you have George Kittle, you have Vernon Davis, you have Patrick Willis. You know what? 49ers plaque on the wall. Congratulations. I think I feel good about that.
Yeah, there's just not 4 good ones that I want to put on there.
I think 50s. You know what? I think 50s will end up being better for us. I do.
Yeah,
I really feel like once we hit the 50s, we're going to take a turn here.
You'll get some NBA guys more with 50. So there we go. That is the not Mount Rushmore for number 49 because we didn't do one. We gave a plaque to the San Francisco 49ers. Congratulations, 49ers. There's your plaque. Dan mentions this is a good one. The other one, Brent Gretzky.
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention. Yeah. So fun fact, Rodney, Brent Gretzky is part of the highest scoring hockey duo in the history of the NHL.
Yeah.
Or the highest scoring brother duo. Did you know that?
Yeah. And how many points did Brent score?
Enough.
Yeah. Enough. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So sign up for our Substack, obviously with college basketball going on, lots of picks. I had another successful day yesterday, won another 4 units, up 35 units since January 1st. March has been a good month, up 9.5 units, finishing it up right now on my second screen right here. Got 3 NBA, 3 NHL. Work on the college now that the matchups are set. But sign up for our Substack. Go to Substack, sign up for Stupid Sports Show, and share it with a friend, family, whatever you choose to do. But sign up for our Substack there. And if you haven't already, I'm sure you already have, but follow us on Twitter at Stupid Sports Show with no W. And then I turn it over to you, Tim.
For the podcast audience, in case you missed any of our 49 episodes, you can go back and listen to all of them on demand, wherever you get your podcasts, talking Spotify, Apple, iHeart, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure to go there, listen, like, rate, subscribe, review, unsubscribe, resubscribe, take back your rating, then give us another rating, preferably the same one if it's good. Or if it's bad, change your attitude and then give us a good one. So that's where you can do it. And shout out, by the way, in case you missed the announcement at the beginning of the show, we are now part of the Gateway Sports Network. So very excited to be a part of what they're doing there. They love us for who we are, which is really important in any relationship, right? And this is what it is. We are entering a relationship with Gateway Sports. So go check them out. We are one of the many featured podcasts that are there now. And so I'm sure you'll find some other good ones that you like besides listening to us dummies.
That's it. Yeah. Shout out gatewaysports.net and shout out all the listeners today. 198 on the live stream right now. Dan won the commenter of the day. Once again, he's got one more. Happy Friday. Happy Pi Day. Yeah. 3.14. That is St. Louis's area code. So it's a big day in St. Louis, the 314. Enjoy the weekend, college basketball, the selection Sunday, your fantasy drafts. Tim, will you be back Tuesday in Illinois for the show, or are you still in the mainland?
I'll be back Wednesday. So, yeah. I'll be back.
I'm going to confirm with you live on the air. Are we going to do Tuesday night at 9 p.m.?
Wait to see.
Yes, that's what I was wondering. We'll keep you updated on what we're doing for next week's show. We do got to have a show because the tournament starts. Most definitely. Yes, there will be absolutely a show before. And one of the reasons why we scheduled our vacation like this is I need to make sure I was back in Illinois before the NCAA tournament began. I can live without the playing games, but once Thursday rolls around, I need to be at home with the TV, no distractions. Sounds good. All right, man. Well, let's have a good weekend. Enjoy Hawaii, and everybody have a great weekend.
All right. This has been the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth, episode 49. We'll talk to you next week, people. See ya.
Step right up, dummies, and listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah.